PRO549 This podcast is brought to you by MC2424A, IPR MSA, UITM, Malacca Chapter.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. And for our podcast today, the title is One Step Ahead in Growing Up. I am Hamza Hassan, your host and moderator for today. Joining me today, we have 5 special individuals. Firstly, we have Dr. Shalia, and next we have Mrs. Afrina, and next to her is Mr. Adam, and there's another 2 more guests in this studio today. We have Prof. Shafiqah, and last but not least, Miss Afrika. With that being said, let us start. Can we please have a short introduction from all of our speakers? So who wants to go first?
I can go first. Hi, my name is Shalia. I am a developmental psychologist currently in UKM.
Anybody next?
Oh, okay. Hi everyone. I am Afrina, a mother of 3 from Damansara.
So go on, Mr. Adam.
Okay, thank you. I am Adam Iskandar. I am currently studying in Sunway University. Thank you.
So who wants to introduce themselves next?
I'll be next. Hi everyone. Hola. I'm Shafiqah Saifullah, a psychology professor from University of Barcelona.
So Miss Afrika, will you go next, please?
Okay. Hello everyone, nice to meet you all. My name is Siti Afika. Just call me Afika.
Alright, thank you speakers. Wow, it looks like we have such astounding speakers with us today. In our discussion, now from our first segment, let's start with an overview of today's topic from Dr. Shalia.
Okay, thank you, Hamza, and everyone here. Good morning. It's such an honor to be invited to talk about how gender stereotypes affect children's senses of self from a young age. It is a common knowledge that everything begins at a young age, but what is rarely discussed is how harmful habits and gender stereotypes are instilled in these young children, shaping them into the adults they will become. Gender stereotypes instruct boys not to express their emotions, while girls are taught to be pleasant and submissive, as well as to care about their appearance. With a shortage of role models and discriminatory attitudes, it's not a surprise that there aren't enough women in STEM jobs. Only 8% of apprentices are female, or a strong presence of men in the healthcare industry. Like we always see nurses as women. We don't call female nurses, but we do call male nurses, male nurses.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah. So that according to research, children's attitudes towards gender are entirely developed by the age of 7. They use stereotypes to categorize and make sense of the world from a young age. Their societal drive to belong and fit in with their assigned gender, as well as the numerous ways in which gender stereotypes are reinforced to them throughout society.
Wow, that's interesting. That's really new to me. Today's discussion will surely be interesting as it sounds so new and futuristic. Ms. Afrina, can you share with us how can you relate to this topic with how you do at home with your children?
Okay, thank you Hamza. First and foremost, thank you for the chance I may use this occasion to share my experience and solicit feedback from everyone. As a mother of 3, I have heard numerous stories from other mothers about how sons and girls are treated differently. This occurred to me as well. I have done my best to be a mother who treats her children unjustly. For example, when I was younger, my mother had all of her girls, including me, to do all of the housework, such as washing dishes and cleaning the home, but my younger brothers did not have to. This is so unfair, in my opinion, because they are equally accountable for things at home, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, after becoming a mother, I made an effort not to do the same. My daughters and son receive fair teaching from me. My son must watch each other's dishes in the absence of their sisters. My daughter needs to learn the same things that my boy does, such as changing lights. Alhamdulillah, they are capable of doing so fairly.
It means that your teaching is very, very good.
Thank you. Okay. And in addition, my son's educational experience. My son really enjoys reading books and participates in sports to a lesser extent. But as we all know, guys in school have a lot of rigorous tasks such as playing football and always helping the teacher handle heavy equipment. oh, and my kid has certain medical difficulties that preclude him from carrying a large object. As a result, my kid received a lot of criticism from his instructor, as in his teacher, as well as mockery from his peers for not participating in rigorous exercise and not assisting the teacher in carrying heavy objects at school. This subject is really upsetting to my son's mind. Last, I also sought the advice of other mothers on the subject. Not all parents do this because they still adhere to the old methods. I am doing everything I can to break the cycle, not just because of the information I have, but also because I seek my children's opinions about it. So, when this happened, I was a little disturbed since all of my attempts to eliminate any gender injustice against my children might not succeed because what was taught in school was different. So, what are your thoughts on this situation? What is my duty as a mother to play in order to reach this goal?
I think you're a great mother, and there's so much that a mother can do for their child, right? Okay, and you are right actually. Education undoubtedly has a large influence. The BBC, there's a documentary by BBC called "Can Our Kids Go Gender Free?" Where they follow Dr. Javid during a 6-week experiment in a year 3 class. Where they try to create a gender-neutral space. The experiment assessed children's behavior, psychological traits, and opinions on gender roles. Results showed girls underestimated their intelligence and self-esteem, while boys overestimate achievement and ability. The study analyzed how the classroom was set up, how the teacher addressed and managed the children, and how the children interacted with each other. They actually found that the teachers actually rewarded the boys and the girls very differently based on their behavior, which is very unnecessary in my opinion. And to combat this, they attempted to remove any gender-based inference as far as possible, eliminating harmful language and bringing in non-conforming role models, such as female mechanic and a male ballet dancer. The program highlighted the impact of parenting on unconsciously teaching gender stereotypes. But there is so much that parents can do. I think education as well as parents play a role. But you did a great job.
Thank you. That's an interesting tips.
I think that's a very insightful thoughts.
I highly agree with you, Dr. Shadia, because sometimes these things when we learn it the hard way, it will be harmful to the person itself. And sometimes as a kid, I also sometimes see that this thing will affect me on the long run. So I think that's all for your part. But now I would like to hear from Mr. Adam. Can you share a little bit about your experiences as a victim of the issue?
Okay, thank you so much, the moderator Hamza, for giving me the chance to speak. As a male man, we play a vital role as a brother, son, or me, husband-to-be, in speaking out against the inequality that happens to the females, such as domestic abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, or such as psychological control. Men are often perceived as the strong one. However, not all men are the same.
Yeah.
True.
But do you know, male can also be the victim of gender inequality too?
Really? I've heard of that before, yeah.
Yeah, now I'm going to tell my story. Let me start by telling my experience back in high school. Boys are taught to be men from an early age, to work hard and support their families. Masculinity is often connected with violence, dominance, and control. For example, I was not actively involved with sports as I am right now. But boys are always associated with playing football, futsal, basketball,
Sorry to
etc.
interrupt, Mr. Adam, but are you from an all-boys school?
You can tell by my stories, is it?
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I never know.
I am from all boys school, but I love going there, But okay, I'm going to continue. Me myself was kaki bangku, as we call it in the Malay term.
Oh, I see.
Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, someone can play football. It's
Yeah.
called kaki bangku.
I can't play football for life.
But may I know, are you still a kaki bangku now?
Yes,
You
but-
are.
Yes, but I do involve in the other sports such as badminton and stuff.
Oh,
I
I
love
see.
badminton. I do.
It's great to hear that you are still playing sports.
Yeah. Okay, and then hence I always since I said that I was a kaki bangku before, hence I always chose to sit at the bench side of the field to watch my friends playing football. I often receive like bad remarks and teasings from my male friends as I did not join them to play football, which led them to perceive me as a guy who is not manly enough.
You were wrong.
Funny story was, it wasn't just my male friends. My female friends give me the same treatment too, as I'm not manly enough and not seen as the masculine guy and the more girlish type of boy for not doing what boys do. I think that's very tragic. My other experience was another one that impacted me very hard to this day. As I have mentioned before, men are often seen as the strong ones, is it? Do you guys agree with that?
Yes, it's
Which
true.
means no matter how hard your life knock you down as a male, we tend to keep it to ourselves. We do not like to share our stories that we have keep inside us, It is the society's norms that shape us to not be too expressive with our emotion, or we will be perceived as the weak one. As a human, in my opinion, myself, everyone is allowed to be more expressive, no matter what gender we are. In result, it can ease the load within ourselves. My point is, males' feelings are valid and need to be heard too, not just the females. Thank you so much.
Wow, really inspirational, Mr. Adam. I can't say a lot of words, but it's really inspirational. Thank you for that. Because we can see since the past time how males are actually portrayed to being brave and not scared of anything at all. So it's really eye-opening when you hear something about this, because sometimes when we follow the rules, we don't know what happens with people that don't follow the rules, but it is what it is. So Ms. Shafika, do you want to share anything from the topic that we are talking about today?
Okay, firstly, I'm sorry that you had to experience that all this time, but I would like to applaud because you shared the story with us. It's not an easy task to do. Like you said, male feelings are valid, and that is true. Boys can cry. It's not a crime for boys to cry, but sometimes people see that as a weakness, and I think we should change people's perception in that, because everyone's feelings are the same. Everyone has their own emotional breakdown
Thank you for being
sometimes.
understanding.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, I can assure you we are proud of your choice to share your story with us and open up about your issue. It's true, this kind of stereotype still exists in this era all around the world. In accordance with social identity theory, we expected that children who personally identify with their gender more strongly, like for example, they stated that I am really happy to be a girl or a boy, should show more positivity towards same gender peers, like thinking that girls or boys are really nice, and possibly less positivity towards other gender peers. However, in my point of view, stereotypes in psychology are a fixed, oversimplified, and often biased belief about a group of people. Like you said, sometimes we tend to just say things about other genders when it's not even true. And I'm sorry, stereotypes can legitimize hostility against the whole social group. Like for example, like you said, you don't even have friends, and even your friends are mocking you for what you are, and it's not wrong for what you are actually. And in addition, because stereotypes are ingrained in the culture sometimes, people begin learning stereotypes during childhood, and they tend to signal which social groups are presumably appropriate targets for relieving individual frustration. And again, I would like to apologize if is there a touch in culture, but I believe it is a big part of what shapes a gender stereotype in this era actually.
Thank you so much for your thoughts.
main reason why gender inequality exists, as we tend to believe that men are superior in our culture while women should always listen to men.
That's right. I believe that it is because of our culture. We have such views and stereotypes on both men and women itself, as well as that. Mrs. Afika, can you share your experiences as a victim of gender inequality with us?
Okay, thank you. As you all know, we hear a lot of gender equality happening among young people and children. Most of the victims are actually women, I think.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
We can see that.
But based on my experience as a victim, gender inequality can occur at any age actually. So I still remember when I was 12 years old, I must spend around 4 hours or more on housework per week. The gender gap also in adulthood is mirrored by the pattern of children housework time even before they are channeled into distinctive housekeeping and breadwinning gender roles. Every week, I spend more than an hour on housework than my other siblings, which is male or my male friends. So, such as cooking or preparing meals, washing dishes, sweeping or vacuuming the kitchen and eating area, feeding pets and many more. When my mom told my brother to what we call feed our cat, they don't want. They
only let the women do the job.
yeah.
So what's your feeling about that? How do you
I feel
feel?
angry actually, because every time woman must do all work.
All the housework,
Yeah.
chores, yeah.
Yeah. So I cannot say anything. Just follow me.
I think that's very unfair.
Yes. Okay. Next, I think especially in rural areas, families still treat sons as their own family members, while daughters will eventually be married off and leave the families alone.
True.
Yeah,
That's really a traditional way of thinking
Yes.
actually.
I've heard of that before.
Do you already have a potential candidate?
I think that.
Nice.
Going back to the topic, I think it's really professional for people at a young age to get married, because I know in today's era we can see that some people sometimes get married during their 30s or maybe 40s, but it is what it is. It's a long time tradition from our people itself, so it's normal during that time, but today it's unacceptable for me, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree with you. Okay. But therefore, it is common for parents to allocate income and resources from the daughter to son, especially when me as a woman work. My parents will ask my salary and give to their son if their son is not working.
That's new.
Okay, furthermore, sons are expected to support their parents when they are in touch. Actually, when son cannot support their parents will ask their daughter. So actually, woman has a lot of
Burdens.
yes burden. Okay. When I was around 15 to 17 years old, I feel this belief was very unfair actually, and sometimes I feel like I want to run away from all those things, but I cannot do anything and have to accept it. But in fact, there is still a lot of gender inequality that occurs between men and women in the world of work. I was not given the opportunity to be the leader in every project that was carried out. Every leader must be given to a man. So I cannot voice out.
That's very upsetting to hear.
This is why I want to break the cycle. Do you want to be my daughter?
It's not that easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically I think when I hear your story, it's kind of sad because I don't really understand on how parents can treat their kids that way. But I think it's because of the traditional way, like our grandparents would want us to marry early since they did it in their old times, like how Hamza said. And yeah, I think the possibility of people look up to men as a dominant one in the family tree is because of tradition.
Yeah, but I think we're lucky enough to live in this very modern era where
Yeah.
we all start to change our perspective, where we want our children to have the best lives. like Mrs. Afrina said, she's trying to break the cycle, and I'm pretty sure we all have a lot of friends who are trying as well.
Yeah, I think the new generation parents will be better. It's not like in terms of understanding their kids, because they know what's happening in the world right now.
We're a lot more aware
Yeah.
of their emotions as well.
Yeah.
Well, looks like the time is about to end. So thank you everybody for the insightful teachings and also information that you have given to me and also the other speakers today. Before we end to this podcast, I want to say thank you to all the 5 speakers for coming today and giving your thoughts about our topic today. So without further ado, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Brian.